It's not only the height, not even the fact he moves like someone built in a lab. It's the feeling you get the second he steps on the court. Victor Wembanyama doesn't look like a player. He looks like a glitch that accidentally got approved for live servers. And I know some people roll their eyes at the hype. They hear once in a lifetime and they think it's marketing. They see a couple of box scores and go, yeah, cool, tall guy blocks shots. But if you've actually watched him, like really watched him, you get it.
Victor rolling to the bucket. Authority!
The stats tell you he's good. They do not tell you how unfair he is. Because the real story with Wemby is not how good is he, the real story is what happens if he ever gets a clean runway. And that's the part that makes this whole thing feel heavy. Let me explain it like this. Some athletes feel destined, not in a corny way, in a way where the world almost lines up around them. Like Usain Bolt, the fastest human ever. And his last name is Bolt. That sounds fake. If you put it in a movie, somebody would say it's too on the nose. But it's real. And the name fits so perfectly that you start thinking, okay, maybe he was built for this. Wemby gives you that same feeling. Not because of his name, because of the shape of his game. He's been the guy since he was a kid. Always taller, always watched, always treated like the future before he even had a present. And for a long time, the conversation around him was basically one question. What good is potential if your body doesn't let you cash it? Because we've all seen the other side of this. Sports are filled with people who looked like the next thing. And then the next thing never showed up. And that's why, even with all the hype, there was still this little doubt hiding in the background. Not about his talent, about the one thing nobody controls: availability. He answered the talent question fast, like almost instantly. He walked into the league as a rookie and averaged 21.4 points, 10.6 rebounds, and a league-leading 3.6 blocks per game. Not good for a rookie. He was the first player since David Robinson to post those kind of defensive numbers right out of the gate. Then year 2, the conversation shifted again. He jumped to 24.3 points and 3.8 blocks, becoming the first player in NBA history to record 1,500 points, 250 blocks, and 100 threes in a single season. People were debating if he's already top 5. And by year 3, the improvement wasn't subtle, it was loud. As of January 2026, he's averaging 24.4 points on a career-high 50.6% shooting, showing he's finally figuring out his spots.
In the driveway when you're 8 years old, what do you do?
Wemby 3, you bet!
Like the league was watching him level up mid-season. And if you needed one more sign that this isn't just hype anymore, Wemby being named an all-star starter kind of ends the debate. Not just an all-star, a starter. At 20 years old, he's officially the first French player ever to start an NBA All-Star game. Which sounds crazy until you remember how global this league already is. Think about how many international stars have come through, how many great French players there have been, and he's the one who breaks that barrier. That's not a popularity vote fluke. That's the league, the fans, and the players all agreeing on the same thing at once. He's already one of the faces of the sport. So you think, okay, this is it. This is the timeline where we watch a legend get built from the ground floor. And then the other storyline shows up. The one that makes everyone go quiet. The injuries. The missed time, the scary updates. And now, every time he tweaks something, the whole basketball world does that same thing. That little inhale. That please don't let this be bad. Because there's an NBA phrase that gets used so much it's basically a law now. The best ability is availability. And with Wemby, the uncomfortable truth is he hasn't always had that. After playing 71 games as a rookie, his sophomore season was cut short. Only 46 games played. And it wasn't even a normal injury conversation. It got serious fast. A deep vein thrombosis situation, a blood clot in his right shoulder. And the reason that hits different is because you don't hear that often in basketball. That's not he rolled an ankle, that's not he strained a hamstring, that's life stuff. And when something like that enters the story, it changes the way you watch, even if you're trying not to be dramatic. Because we've seen this before. Chris Bosh's career got cut short because of blood clots. That's the name everyone brings up immediately. It's the warning sign example. The one people don't want to say out loud, but they're thinking it. And then you have the other example. Brandon Ingram had a similar condition. He came back. He got better. He became an all-star. So hope exists. But you're still left with the same reality. Wemby is one of the tallest players the league has ever seen at 7'4", and height is a gift, and height is also a tax. Historically, players 7'2" and taller have struggled to maintain long careers. Bill Walton only played 468 games in 13 years. The taller you are, the more your body is dealing with forces most athletes never feel. Every cut, more leverage. Every landing, more stress. Every weird angle, more risk. That's why people keep hovering around him like they're guarding a priceless painting. It's not because they don't believe in him, it's because they believe too much. They know what he is, and they know what could happen if the wrong thing happens at the wrong time. And this is where the conversation gets even more interesting, because everyone keeps saying we've never seen anything like Wemby. Alien, unicorn, one of one, and I get why people say it, but it's not fully true. Not the same exact player, not the same era, not the same usage, but the same idea. A giant who moved like he wasn't supposed to. A tall, smooth, skilled center who played like a guard. And if you're young, you might not even know the name. Ralph Sampson, 7'4". Fluid, skilled, taking fadeaways like it was normal, moving with a lightness that made no sense for that frame. If Wemby is a what am I watching experience in this era, imagine what Sampson looked like in the 80s. He was decades early. And here's the brutal part. The reason Sampson doesn't get mentioned as much as other what-if stories is simple. The injuries swallowed the story. Knee issues drained his career after early promise, limiting him to just 500 total games. Then suddenly the player you thought would own the league becomes a footnote. And that's the nightmare people don't want to attach to Wemby. Because it's not just about missing a season. It's about the way a body can change. The way confidence can change. The way teams start managing you like glass. The way your career becomes if instead of when.
Can't hit the leaner. So yes, Powell thrust into action. Wembanyama! Oh my!
And now we hit the twist. Because around the 4-minute mark, this is where most Wemby conversations go in one direction. They turn into panic. They turn into doom scrolling. They turn into he's too tall, it was always gonna happen. But I think that's lazy. And I think it misses the most important thing about him. Wemby isn't only special because of his body, he's special because of his mind. And that matters more than people admit. Because the league is full of freak athletes. The league is not full of freak athletes who also play with discipline, who also study, who also care about the boring parts, who also take pride in the stuff nobody posts. And Wemby has that. You see it in how he talks. Calm but not passive. Confident but not loud. He doesn't move like a guy who thinks the league owes him greatness. He moves like a guy who's trying to earn it. And that's the separator. Because a lot of hyped prospects run into the same trap. They were always better than everyone else growing up, so they never had to build the habits. Then the NBA humbles them. And the talent alone isn't enough. With Wemby, it feels different. It feels like he actually loves the process, like he enjoys becoming better, like he wants the responsibility. And that's why I keep coming back to one small detail that sounds silly, but I think it matters. The number 1. He wears one because he wants to be one. Not in a cute branding way, in a I'm not here to be interesting, I'm here to be the standard way. And yeah, plenty of guys wear one and play like they're allergic to pressure. But with him, it matches. Now zoom out even further. If we're talking about generational expectations, the list of people who actually lived up to him is tiny. I'm talking athletes who were famous before adulthood. Tiger Woods, Pelé, LeBron James, those types. The kind of hype where the world decides your story before you even have a chance to write it. And LeBron is the comparison everyone reaches for with Wemby. Most hyped modern prospect, chosen one energy. But here's the thing. The LeBron hype was a different species. LeBron had high school games on national TV. People who didn't care about basketball knew his name. That level of spotlight is hard to explain unless you lived through it. Wemby had hype too, but his hype was more about possibility, about potential, about what he might become. And that's where it gets scary. because he's not only meeting the expectations, he's moving ahead of schedule. He's progressing like the best case scenario version.
Rejected by Robinson. Right to Champagny. Wembanyama again. Yes, sir!
The only thing separating the dream timeline from the frustrating timeline is whether he stays on the court. So when people say the only thing holding him back is the thing that made him special, they're not wrong. His height is the reason he's a cheat code. His height is also the reason everyone's nervous. And this is where I get honest. I hate this part of sports. I really do. Because we love the idea that hard work guarantees greatness. We love that story. It's clean. It's motivating. It makes you feel the world is fair. But sports aren't fair. Not fully. Luck is always in the room. Randomness is always in the room. The wrong landing. The wrong step. The wrong moment. And it does not care how many hours you trained. That's why people root for Wemby in a different way. Even rival fans. Even people who hate the Spurs. They still want him on the floor. Because everyone knows what we're looking at. We're looking at a player with the kind of ceiling that bends the whole sport. A player who can change what teams even build for. A player who can make the league feel unfair for a decade. And the frustrating part is, we're not asking for perfection. We're not asking for 82 games every year. We're asking for a fair chance. A full runway. A stretch of seasons where we get to see what happens when the talent and the obsession both get time. So let me ask you, when you watch Wemby, what are you feeling more? Excitement or anxiety? Because for me, it's both. I'm excited because he's the most absurd thing I've seen in a long time. And I'm anxious because history keeps whispering the same warning. We've seen giants fall apart before. And we've also seen players come back from scary things and still become stars. So the story isn't written. But it's rare that the entire league agrees on one thing. This guy is different. And if the basketball gods ever stop messing around and let him stay healthy, we might end up watching the most unfair era the sport has ever seen.